Hello friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today we're going to be doing a quick little simple technique using designer series paper and also using the beautiful Pretty Perennials bundle that's in the January through June mini catalog 2021. That goes to the end of June, June 30th. But we're also going to be using a beautiful paper that's in the annual catalog. Now our annual catalog will be ending like the first couple days of May this year instead of the end of June. So this paper will be retiring and it is so pretty. It has like a nice watercolor print of all the designs there. You've got almost every color that we've got in our rainbow at Stampin' Up. So I'm going to be using, actually, let me set my paper down over here. I'm going to be using these two beautiful prints that are in there, and they feature Purple Posy, Calypso Coral, Crushed Curry, and they say this is Petal Pink, but I think it's more Blushing Bride. It's a little more pink tone to it than the peachy tone, so I went with Blushing Bride. But on these cards, it makes 4 cards, the technique we're going to do, but I'm going to be using this pattern on the cards that we make. Now, I'm going to take a little quick look here at the Pretty Perennials. Now, the Pretty Perennials have that also watercolor. So whenever I saw this real pretty, soft print in the paper, I thought these mimicked it very well. And then the Happy was a little bit too big to put on with my sentiments on these cards. So I looked at my other stamp sets and I found this beautiful Friendship. If you just look at these, you see they both have that similar pattern of the way they made the images in there. And so I thought this is great. And it's got 4 great sentiments here that would go well on a card ensemble of 4 cards. So I used the beautiful Friendship on these cards. As you can see, I used each one. And then I'm going to sample putting together one here. And so on the card that we're going to make, though, I tried to find another one. And I thought these, in the Peaceful Moment, these sentiments were perfect because they've got like a whimsical font on them too. So we're going to be using that stamp set, Peaceful Moments. It's in the annual catalog. Now it's the second round that it's been in the annual catalog. So we'll see if it's going to be sticking around. So the fun thing with this technique, I saw a card and I thought, wow, that's really cool the way they did that. And then I traced back and did some sleuthing and found out that this technique, I think it may have originated with Susan Campfield. And so Campfield, Susan. And so it may have originated there. That's where I saw it end. So it's really a one-sheet wonder using a 6x6. And what you're going to do is, I wish I had my pencil on my desk. Let me grab my pencil. Okay, here we go. There, nice look at that trimmer, huh? That needs a little bit of cleaning there. Okay, so I wanted a pencil here so I could erase. So what you're just going to do is take a 6x6, and of course, if you have 12x12 paper, you just cut it into 6x6. But what you're gonna do is on each side, you're going to start in the left. This is the way I do. I start in the left corner and I'm going to measure and make a tick mark at 1.5. Okay, so I'll just use my trimmer to do that. So right up there in that groove, 1.5. Now I'm going to turn it counterclockwise for me here, I guess. And I'm going to do a 1.5 again. Right at that groove mark is 1.5. I'm going to turn it again. And of course you could turn it the other way. You just want to make sure that you're not putting it, you're putting it onto the left side of each line that you're putting up against the top of your trimmer. So 1.5, another tick mark, turn it again, 1.5, right there, and then we're back at 1.5 again. So I guess what I'm saying is always be doing your 1.5 measuring over from the left side of your paper each time you turn it. So if you were doing it the opposite way, you would be, like if you did it from the other side, you would just turn it that way. Okay, so now we have these tick marks here. Now notice there's one here and one down here, And then if you turned your paper this way, you have one here and here. So what we're going to be doing is connecting the opposite side of the paper. So the opposite side of the paper, and we're going to be connecting and cutting, okay? So what we're going to do is take this tick mark. Now, once again, we're going to be connecting this pencil mark to this pencil mark, and then we're going to be keeping the paper together and connecting this one to this one. So it's just opposite sides. So what we're going to do is put this tick mark in the groove here, and we're going to look for the tick mark down here. And you can see it down here. So you have your two opposite sides and you have your marks on it. And then, like I always kind of give you that little tip, I start in the middle of the paper so that I don't end up with a little dent in there. Now, what you're going to do is you have that cut, but you're going to keep it together. So just hold it with your hands, and then you can adjust it when you're ready for the next. Then you'll go to the next two tick marks that were on the opposite sides of the paper, and you're going to put those two. Where's my mark? Oh, there it is. A little confused here. I'm more concerned about keeping my paper together. So once again, you put those two tick marks here, the one at the top and the opposite side here, and you're holding together your, let's see, I just moved it there. You're holding together the paper as if it wasn't cut. Get that mark in that groove. And the thing about it, this is very forgiving. If you do have to keep it straight, but if you're off a little on the tick marks, you're fine. But if you do, somehow the first time I did this, I wiggled my paper and I actually got a curve in it. And it did not give me a good, because you need to have one 90-degree corner on each one of your cards. So now we have these 4 pieces here. Okay, see how they just fall apart there? Okay, so now the next thing, you can mess them up after you cut them, I think. So what I did next is I had my 4 pieces here, and now notice I'm making 4 cards out of one 6x6. So get all that out of there. So what I did then is I pulled out those colors. Like I said, I liked Blushing Bride and the Purple Posy, and I made 2 landscape cards and then 2 portrait cards. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you here. I did a little bit of preliminary work here. So if you look at your card here, and let's just do it this way, actually. Let's put our paper back together. Haha, it's like a puzzle now. But maybe that's not really totally absolutely necessary that I put it back together. But one way that I found as when I was doing this is that I started, now let's do it this way. Let's put this just helped in my mind. Okay, and then I'll do this one and then this one. Okay, so what I did is I put a landscape, a portrait, and then a landscape again and a portrait. Okay, now this just helped me with my feeble little brain here. Okay, so it's still not gonna do what I want it to do. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one here, and it's gonna be going on this card, okay? Then I'm gonna go to this corner and I'm gonna put one down in this corner. And you can mix and match and play around with this. Then I'm gonna do one in this corner, and then I'm gonna put one up in this corner. And so I just went from corner to corner to corner the whole way around. Okay, and then see here, I was a tiny bit off on my tick mark, but that's okay. And then you would just erase your little marks. Now, you'll notice on these cards that I made, and where did I put them? Oh, here they are, right underneath my desk here. I was putting this together and I put a little white border along here. It just jumped out at me when I was putting it on there that I loved having that little bit of a white border. But I think on this one, I just want to see what it's going to look like putting it right up into the corner. Let me see. Yeah, I think that'll give us a variation there. So what I'm going to do, and what's really pretty about this pattern of paper, it's got the same colors on this particular one, the same colors. So it makes it really nice if you want to flip them and make, you know, different ensemble there. So we've got one there, and then we'll put the other one here, and we'll see what these cards, you can always go over to my blog, cindyleebdesigns.com, and you can see additional photos. You can see the products I use, any, the products, the colors, any other little tips. Sometimes I link to another card. So cindyleebdesigns.com. And also under the YouTube description, at the end of the description, it says visit my blog here. You just press that link. It takes you right over to my blog. And also I'll have in the description the products that I use and the measurements so that you have those. And I love being able to make an ensemble of cards. It's like a nice gift to somebody, you know. Four cards is just a nice little number. And then we're just putting that up in that corner. And then we're gonna put this one in this corner. Okay, and that one goes, wait, where does this one go? What did I do? Oh, here. It's like, wait, I know it has a right, each one of these has, and I just saw a pencil mark there. Each one of them has a right corner in them. These actually have 4 sides, but they're not parallel. So it can't be, I'm gonna have to do this from this angle. So it can't be a trapezoid, but it can be a trapezium. So we just want to put that so that we have our, I knew I was off a little bit here, kids. It has to be right on the right angle here. So let me get my eye up there a little better. Now you'll notice I'm a little off. I might have like twisted my paper a little bit. So if that happens, you just want to make sure that you get a right angle. So I can tell that this one, so what I would do is just stick it in there and make sure my line is at the top, and then make sure that I've got a right angle there. And I just shaved it off a little. And that probably happened if I just tiny bit twisted it. So if you're having that trouble, it's most likely because it twisted a little bit, but just make sure one side is completely straight up against there, and then make your right 90-degree cut, and you'll fix that problem. So now, and I just noticed that whenever I had that little bit of, like, I was having trouble getting, see, now it's perfectly in the right, and nobody can tell that we shaved that little piece off there. Okay, so now we have a messed up card here, but it'll all come together. Okay, so now we have our cards here. Now, you know what we should do? We should go ahead and put this on here. And actually, this would probably be a very good use of Tombow. I just want to see what it looks like having the, and like I said, I'll have the rest of the cards on, you know, nice photos of them on my blog site. So just make sure you jump over there. Okay, my eyes are not working the way they should be here. I'm looking at a different angle with my progressive glasses, and I'm seeing crooked. Okay, I just want to see what it actually looked like, the difference between having, let me see, the difference between having it with no white and with white. I think it's a nice change. And you could also mix, if you have the playing with patterns, you could actually mix and match your cards, have two of them with this and 2 of them with this, or you can make an ensemble of 8 cards. So that's what it would look like, and then you just do your layering. But I already have this one, which is the 4th card in the ensemble with this one. So I'm gonna set these aside here. And like I said, make sure you go over to my blog to see what those ones look like. So we have, as you notice, this was in this corner, that was in the next corner, this was in this corner, and this is in this corner. So if you look at the paper, you can see corner, 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 corner. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at this one here. And like I said, I used the beautiful friendship stamp set on this, okay? And then what I did was I had a Blushing Bride card base, and these card bases are the landscape ones are 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4.25. And technically you could do the portrait cards that way as well, but I always like one that opens from the bottom. I think that comes from when I do classes. I have little stands, and it's so much easier to put the card that way and then just flip it up when the girls want to see the inside of the card. So I think that's why I always make cards that way. I think somebody asked me that too. Why do we always make them this way? And I'm like, because they fit that way. It's just like you ask your mom, why do we fold our towels not in a square but in a rectangle 3 times? And she goes, well, that's just the way my mom did it. And then she asked her mom, and her mom said, well, that's the way they fit in the cupboard. So it wasn't any real reason why. And I just noticed I have a little bit, that's a little bit showing, but you know what? I'm going to give you a tip. When you try to tear this off, you're going to get wrinkles like I did in this card. It's got a little warping. So what I'm going to do, because I already adhered that down, is I'm going to be very careful, and I'm just going to trim off with a large pair of scissors so that I get longer cuts. And I'm just going to trim that off a second. Okay, just a little bit of surgery there, minor surgery. Okay, so now we're going to put that onto the front of that Blushing Bride. Now you notice, you can see the colors in the designer paper peeping out at you, and you're seeing Blushing Bride, you're seeing Crushed Curry, you're seeing the Purple Posy. So then I just use those colors again. Now, since I used Blushing Bride here, I used a circle here that is Purple Posy. Now, of course, this can be cut right out of there. So why waste another piece of Purple Posy? Cut it out of here. I think when I originally made these, I was still playing around with it. And then I made a couple ensembles of this already as a gift for someone. That's how it ended up becoming a video. And when I did those cards, because I was doing multiples, I actually die cut all my flowers out of the middle. So we've got purple here, and then we have a beautiful Calypso coral here. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to pop up the Purple Posy circle here. We're just going to use some dimensionals here and pop up this circle here. I could have went with the Crushed Curry for the flower, but I liked, since my sentiment's up there, I'm going to kind of put my focal point down towards the bottom here. So I ended up using my little baby dimensional here on little mini. Did I take that off? Let me see, I'll do it this way. I just put it on the back of the Purple Posy, and I was using the Purple Posy because, oh no, you know what? I wanted to, oh no, I did do it on the same ones. Okay. Oh, on this card, yeah, I was thinking I did Blushing Bride and Purple Posy, but I accidentally put the Blushing Bride on here. Oh well, we'll just put the no, it's gonna make me, oh well, we'll just do it this way. Okay. And there is a way that these kind of match up. And which way was it? Okay, the little, right, here we go. So these dies are amazing in this set. Where is my stamp set? I actually am waiting for my pretty perennials. So my friend had lent me hers, and it's the Perennial Petals dies. And so you've got all these great little dies that cut out all these little pieces, but the ones that I used specifically on this card was the, as you can see, there's this beautiful leaf here. And then I've got this flower here, and then this little Calypso coral flower. And then this one cuts out the stamped image, but it also cuts out just a solid image. And then this one cut out my big Calypso coral. So you've got so many fun dies to play with in this set. And like I said, you put that on here. I used the Crushed Curry to stamp this one. So let's just, I did put this one flat, but before I put that on, I'm just going to go ahead and put some glue on my, and I think on this set of cards, I'm going to get, now notice here, this glue here, this just rolls right off of this. Just rolls right off. But I'm going to put some glue on here and get a little bit on the back of my, and then I'm going to show you a little trick in a second here. Okay, so I have my yellow, which is crushed curry, and I'm going to put that right kind of anywhere on there, but we're going to cover up this little piece. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip off. Oop, I moved it before it was dry. I'm just going to snip off a little bit of this bottom because I don't need it there. Okay, so we've got our crushed curry. We've pulled the crushed curry out, and then we have our Calypso Coral and our Purple Posy. And then I went ahead and did this in crushed curry. And I also just used a flat, went flat on that. And I'm going to put it a little bit under my Calypso Coral. And then I put a Calypso Coral little funsy die out of there. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue. Oh, I know what I did on this one. I used a glue dot. And where are my glue dots? There. Ah, I just found the ribbon I was looking for last night. Everywhere. I looked everywhere for my Seaside Spray ribbon that I already had open. I looked everywhere, and guess what? It is sitting right in front of me. Literally right in front of me. When I was looking for these glue dots, I'm like, oh, there's that ribbon. Oh gosh. So we're just gonna pop this right on that crushed curry flour, and then I thought, oh, we need a little bit of some Purple Posy. Now, Purple Posy, the ink pads, they just did not formulate well for us, and we did discontinue that. But every once in a while, if I have a fine line image, my ink pad that technically should be in the garbage, I can get some life out of it, and I did get some. So we're gonna put then that little Purple Posy, but then something's missing here. Now on this card, I pulled out some retired. This is terracotta tile, but it really paired well with the Calypso Coral, and this was Purple Posy. These were in the embellishments in the catalog last year. They're retired. I only had a couple of them. I played around with them and I used them on my gift. So I thought, well, what do we have now that I could use? And oh my gosh, look how pretty. I'm gonna use the elegant faceted gems. Now these came with the Prized Peony Suite, the elegant faceted gems, and they actually have a pretty like tone of the petal pink in it, so it really pairs well there. So I just want to get this off without flicking it across the room. Sometimes I have a little better luck with my old piercing tool because it's a little thinner. So I'm going to pop one right in the middle of my Purple Posy, and it's a bigger one, and then I have two of these. So we're gonna put the white one here. We're gonna put it there. And because they're faceted, they tend to have like a little bit more of a subtle look to them too. And so we'll just pop that on. So we have got our card done. Check that out. So very happy to know you. So now we have our 4 cards that fit this ensemble, but we're just gonna just make one more here. Let's do our, oh, I want to show you a trick here. Something I've shown you before, but if you're going to make these cards, you're going to find yourself making multiples, right? You're going to be like, oh, I'm going to make 4 of these flowers, 4 of these flowers. So a little trick, in case you haven't seen this yet, is use your Stamparatus. Use your stamp positioning tool. So this Stamparatus is absolutely great for this technique here. All you do is put your stamp there on the acrylic plate, and then what I did is I put my piece of paper here. It wasn't cut yet, and what I did was I inked this up and I stamped it down. Okay, so what happens when you do that? You go over to your Big Shot and this pops out. Okay, and then you already have one. Now, because it's perfectly here and you put an arrow to know exactly the corner that it goes back in, you can then cut a whole bunch of blank white ones. So this makes your die cutting so, mindless. You just roll, you keep putting the die on white paper and rolling, 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 and you've got a whole bunch of white ones. You pop them back in, and it saves you a lot of time because you don't have to stamp, go to the Big Shot, tape down your framelit, roll it, then stamp and do it again. You can just come over here and just mindlessly throw the white ones in there, open up your crushed curry. I'm actually going to put, I'll just hold it up. Usually I put a stamp set underneath there and it makes it. And then all you do is as long as you have that right in the corner, look at that, and then you just pull it off. Perfect. Now notice how different they look when they stamp. Wet, dry. Then you just can do a bunch of them at one time. Okay, so not only did I do it with that flower, since I had a lot of the Calypso Coral ones to do, I just did the same thing with my Calypso Coral ones. I put a piece of white in here, always put an arrow so you know which way, because this one, very easily, if you put it back in this way, you'd think, oh wait, that doesn't work. What did I do wrong? So I always put a little arrow up there in the corner, just put it in there. I, of course, went and inked this up, cut a perfect one. Now, if you do this and you go over and you cut it and it's a bad one and it's off a little bit, you're gonna do it again. So even though I had to stamp this twice till I got a perfect one, I didn't mind because now I know it's perfect. So then I just come back and I can pop in a white one. Haha. So there we go. I just pop back in a white one. And then I just, oh, my little trick I was going to show you too is you just take a stamp set, put it under your acrylic plate, and you've got a nice flat surface to work with. Okay, Calypso Coral. And then I just put it down. And whatever you're going to do, say you want to change out the color, and then you've got a bunch of perfectly die cut Calypso Coral. Now, say you want to make a whole bunch of maybe crushed curry ones. Maybe you want to do a whole bunch of a different color. Keep this in there. And I have been known to have these plates laying on around my stamping room for a week or two because I've already did them perfectly and I don't want to possibly have to take that 2 seconds of my time to do it again. So what you can do is just leave it there and then just come back and do a whole bunch of them at one time, throw them in your stamp case. Next time you need to do a card, you already have them stamped, die cut, and you're done. So I love my Stamparatus for that reason. Okay, so that made it very easy for me to get a lot of these flowers done at one time. So let's look and see what this one will look like here. So let's just do a little run through again. This is 4 by 5 1/4, and we used one of those corner ones. And we're going to, and I put that on the front of our card. There we go. And I guess we're not going to do this card because oh yeah, I have it right over here. Here we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is get that dust off there, and we're just going to do that same thing we did. Now see, I was smart on these ones because I knew I was going to be making a bunch of these for swaps, and since I was going to do swaps with these, I wanted to have a bunch of them done. So here we go, and I'm going to put, there we go. We're going to put this down. Oh, wait, we want to figure out which sentiment we're going to put. Where should we put the sentiment on this one? I'm going to be using the Peaceful Moments on this set. So we could do, maybe you could put the sentiment up here or down here. I'm thinking that if I want to put, maybe put it here. So let's put a sentiment up here. So I think I'm going to do the happy birthday. So let's, oh, there's my arm in there. So let's do happy birthday. Okay, so I'm gonna do happy birthday in Calypso Coral. Looks like I got it all covered. I'm gonna bring this down in front of me here. And hope that it's nice and straight. Oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you, Jesus, it worked. Ah. Okay, so nice and straight, Calypso Coral. And how did I get Calypso Coral down here? So we're gonna kind of cover up that little booger there. Okay, now we're gonna put this white here with our from our layering circles. The stitched one, isn't it great how the stitching adds so much to the card? So that's the stitched shapes dies, and then these are layering circles. And then what we're gonna do, if you don't want to do any stamping, you can so easily just die cut all these flowers. Isn't that cool? Die cut all the flowers and you don't have to do any stamping. But we are doing stamping because look, I have these stamped already. So here I already cut off my little stem there. I'm gonna pull back out my little piece of glue there, and I'm just gonna get a little bit of glue on my little lacy leaf here. I could put it this way, but I think I have more room up this way since I brought it down to cover up that. Okay, so that's going to be going there. There is some glue under there. And then we're going to put our Calypso Coral flower here. I want to cover up that bottom part of the leaf. And then we're going to put our well, actually, I want to put that a little bit under there. And then what did we do? We put our little Calypso Coral lacy die here that's in that set. Use a glue dot for that one because it just fits perfectly right on there. And we can put that right in the middle. There we go. Should have did that first. Put that right there like that. And then we wanted to put, this is where I'm going to show you how I put, where did I put those? Oh, here we go. Where I put the opposite color here. So I had Purple Posy here, and I like it better with that Blushing Bride there. So we used a mini dimensional for that. So we know they're on the desk somewhere. Now think of all the designer paper, the paper blooms, that's Celebration, and also I wanted a softer color. I wanted to use, I've seen this flower set done with a lot of bold colors, like the blues and yellows, because we had that really pretty Paper Blooms had the Rococo Rose and the navy and all those dark mixed with light, but I wanted to use different colors, and I wanted to use a different color of paper. A few people had got the paper shares from me, and I wanted to use some of the paper in the paper shares as well. But both Celebration papers, that we have Celebration till the end of February, but if you already got your Celebration paper, this stamp set would work great with both of the papers, Field and Flowers, and also the In Bloom, Paper Blooms. So there you go. All right, so we need one more little guy here, and that's going to be our Purple Posy. Okay, and we just put a dimensional on the back of that one. It fits in there. So once you get all of your cards, all of these pieces, it's just lickety split to put that together. And then, like I said, I just used my Elegant Faceted Gems here. Whoop. I already have a few cut here because I was doing my duty. Oh yeah, I do have a, it's funny in the light, you can't tell. This is the one that has the color in it. So I'm gonna put it on the big flower, and it covers up that dimensional there. And so these little faceted gems worked really nice with this paper, just so soft and just went well. Worked well. So you could look through all your different designer papers and just pull out the colors that you could use on the card. So this just goes to show how neat both of these stamp sets work with the paper blooms. Like, it just has that, you know, this is just real simple and whimsical. And you could, if you wanted to, you could use, you know, put a couple little dots here. You could put a few more of these gems around there. But two different stamp sets that work well with this. But of course, this stamp set itself has great sentiments in it too. I really like those. But like I said, it was, this happy was what I wanted to use, and then I realized that doesn't really kind of work with this. So plus I wanted 4 sentiments. I have this like, you know, mind that works in like numbers and everything. And so I wanted 4 sentiments, 4 cards, a stamp set. So those two, peaceful moments and the beautiful friendship, work really well. So, and you can see the difference here with making these 2 different designs. These ones, oh, I actually ended up putting this right in the corner there. So you can see the difference in what it looks like having it right to the edge and what it's like having the white. So you can, you know, mix and match and decide what you like. Maybe you want to mix and match and have the white in, you know, make 2 different sets with different opposing patterns and then mix them all together. But it's just a super fun set. And I have to say that I thought I had enough flowers until I started playing with this stamp set and realized I can never have enough flowers and dies. I love them. So we've got a lot of different cards here that you can make using this basic design. I mean, all you have to do is, yeah, a 6x6, go in 1.5 inches on each side, turn it around and cut up to opposite corners, keeping the paper together. And you've only used 1 6x6 piece of paper and made 4 different cards. And they all do look different because of where you put your designer series paper and where you put your sentiments. So I think you'll have fun with this. I'd love to see any samples that you make if you do end up using this technique with the 6x6 one sheet wonder for 4 cards. You know, shoot a picture of it and, you know, email it to me at cindyleeb@gmail.com, or you can always contact me via my phone at 724-323-2296. You could text me a picture. You could, if you have any questions, always please feel free to call me or ask me any questions on email or text. It's never a bother. If you do it late at night, like sometimes I do, I'll get to you in the morning or the next day. So thanks for buzzing by, friends.